Hi, I'm Andrew Allen, and this is Outlook Broadcast. From the campus of Union College, we bring you a special report from the virtual edition of Outlook magazine. For the May issue, we have special feature stories written by Union students. We also have news from around the Mid-America Union. Our first report is from KJ.
This is KJ McCotcher reporting about the Central States Conference. This week's Central States News focuses on a prayer conference that took place in person and virtually on March 18th and 19th in St. Louis. The event involved 4 different conferences and 2 unions, the North American Division and the General Conference. Also, another article states that 3 elders from the New Community and Boston Street Adventist churches in the Denver area were ordained on January the 22nd. It had been 10 years since the last elder's ordination service. You can read the full stories at outlookmag.org. Next up, Gabriel with your Dakota Conference news.
I'm Gabriel Sanders. In the May issue of Outlook, the Dakota Conference featured Mr. Charles O'Hare in his retirement. Originally from Colorado, Charlie didn't grow up Adventist. He attended a Baptist church as a child, then became an Adventist and worked as a pastor in various Adventist churches across the different conferences. Then he got the call to come to Dakota Conference as the Trust Services Director. There, he helped an estimated 300 to 400 individuals with an important document. Whether Charlie was preaching as a pastor or writing documents for various people as the Trust Services Director, his 35 years of ministry had an impact on the Dakota Conference. You can read the full story in the print edition of the magazine. Now to Annalise with the news from the Iowa-Missouri Conference.
I'm Annalise Jacobs with your Iowa-Missouri news from the May issue of Outlook magazine. Our main story features Mary Gingrich's testimony. Raised in an Amish farming community, Mary and her husband were excommunicated from the Amish church right before their strawberry harvest. Usually, they would rely on the Amish community to help with the harvest. Providentially, an Adventist salesman connected them with Sunnydale Adventist Academy, who sent volunteer students to help the family pick the strawberries. The family began Bible studies and were baptized into the Adventist church. You can read more about this surprising story either online at outlookmag.org, or if you are a church member in Mid-America, in the print magazine that will soon be delivered to your home.
Annalise, we have a special notice that has just come in. The Iowa-Missouri Conference would like to announce that the 11th session of the Association of Iowa-Missouri Conference of Seventh-day Adventists will be held on the campus of Sunnydale Academy, Sunday, June 5th at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Drew, for that important notice. You can find more information about this special meeting on the Iowa-Missouri Conference website.
Hi everyone, this is Dan Cabrera of Union College reporting on news from the Kansas-Nebraska Conference. The youth of College View Church located in Lincoln, Nebraska hosted a birthday party for the children who live at a local shelter for families. They celebrated the children through games, crafts, and music in order to show them Jesus. In Shawnee, Kansas, students from Midland Adventist Academy led a week of prayer in order to connect with God. Midland also hosted a conference-wide music festival, which was a smashing success, according to Steve Hutchison, one of several music directors involved in the event. In Olathe, Kansas, the Olathe New Life Church supported the community by hosting the Renewed Hope Mobile Pantry. In addition, a local physician from Great Bend, Kansas recently hosted a 3-night session on how to stay healthy. You can find out more about these inspiring stories at outlookmag.org. Jacob, how are things in Minnesota?
Jacob Sanchez here reporting for the Minnesota Conference. A few years ago, the North American Division announced an initiative to plant 1,000 community churches. The Minnesota Conference took this challenge seriously. Since the initiative began, the Minnesota Conference has planted 24 new churches. Church growth experts believe that new congregations are more willing to allow new people to be engaged in ministry than older churches, and that planting new churches is a way to grow the church and reach the community. The Minnesota Conference believes that as a worldwide church, we need an extensive church planting movement in every population center. You can find the full report in the May issue of Outlook magazine, either online or in your mailbox, if you hold church membership in Mid-America. Now to Aaron with news from the Rocky Mountain Conference.
This is Aaron Cabrera reporting from Union College. In the Rocky Mountain Conference, Brandon Westgate, the conference's new youth director, shared his vision for his work with the youth. It is divided into 4 aspects: serving, socializing, seeking, and seeing. With events like summer camp and the Great Summit, the department wants to create opportunities for young people. In other news, one of the Hispanic RMC Pathfinder clubs secured a spot in the North American Division Bible Bowl competition. This team captain shared, "It's all about learning that certain stories and experiences that the people of God went through can be used by us as examples of how we should live our lives. Finally, the Campion Adventist Church observed and celebrated the different cultures in their church by holding an international Sabbath. Students dressed in their cultural attire and worshiped together in different languages. Back to you, Drew.
And now, onto our feature stories with Caleb.
Hello, my name is Caleb Shaver, and today I'm being joined by Micah Rose and Annika Cambeek. They're just two of the featured writers for this month's edition of Outlook magazine, and I will be asking them some questions about their articles. Micah, let's start with you. Your article is entitled Learning the Adventist Lingo. What inspired you to write this?
So I was actually not initially raised Adventist. I came into the denomination relatively later on, and all these words like haystacks and like just these things in general just kind of like confused me. I didn't really know. It took time to learn them. So this article is really for people who share sort of my experience, like people who are just coming into Adventism for the first time and they're like kind of lost, like what does this mean? So that's pretty much what it's directed to.
That's really interesting, Micah. Thank you. Annika, your article was about fighting insomnia. What's your number one tip for fighting sleeplessness?
Actually, the best tip I found was the hardest for me to implement, only using the bed for sleeping. I love watching shows and doing homework on my bed, so this was a super difficult change for me to make, but the results have totally been worth it. I have such an easier time falling asleep quickly and naturally now than I did before.
Thanks, Annika. That's an amazing tip. I'll have to try that one myself. You can find these students' articles and many more in the May edition of Outlook magazine. Back to you, Drew.
Well, that concludes our Outlook on Mid-America. Thanks for watching this Outlook broadcast from Union College. You can read more about these inspiring stories and others online at outlookmag.org. I'm Drew Allen. Thank you for watching.